Welcome back to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. You may notice that those of you who are watching anyway on video, you may notice I am still in my home studio. It is still the depths of hell on set over at Blaze HQ. I am told that there is a fix coming soon, but for now, we are here in the comfortable air conditioning here at home in my Come and Take It studio. I will say, I mean, I am very quick to say, yes, I do enjoy being a spoiled American, and I do insist on air conditioning when I have studio lights like just blaring down on me. It does tend to get very hot. So welcome back. We are joined today remotely by our friend Matthew Marsden, BlazeTV contributor and actor and producer extraordinaire, who is at his home studio as well in the AC, because we do expect these luxuries as Americans.
We're gonna get some
Right?
AC.
Yeah.
We're gonna have the Blaze pay for it. We're gonna get them fixed. They're gonna fix it. It's gonna be good, Sarah. It's gonna be chill. Possibly the most chilled studio. Some people say
The most
that the
chilled
Blaze
studio.
will pay for it.
Yep. Many
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Many people are saying. Many people are saying it.
Many people are
So,
saying.
so speaking of President Trump, I'm sure you saw this, Matt. He announced this, going into the weekend. We were talking about he had this meeting set up in Geneva with China, even though all of the Democrats were like, he's never gonna get it done. He is stunting America. This is gonna be terrible for America. And he has already announced a reset, he says, with China based on a major trade deal that, of course, he has been trying. He's the only president who has been trying to undo decades upon decades of not just China, but, other countries basically exploiting our economy. China being the most vicious, exploiting our economy to its own advantage. Here is President Trump with some of that announcement.
In addition, yesterday we achieved a total reset with China. After productive talks in Geneva, both sides now agreed to reduce the tariffs imposed after April 2nd to 10% for 90 days as negotiators continue on the larger structural issues. And I want to tell you that a couple of things. First of all, that doesn't include the tariffs that are already on, that are our tariffs, and it doesn't include tariffs on cars, steel, aluminum, things such as that, or tariffs that may be imposed on pharmaceuticals, because we want to bring the pharmaceutical businesses back to the United States, and they're already starting to come back now based on tariffs.
Obviously, this is something that the stock markets were like, oh, okay, we're really happy about that. Investors were really happy. You saw the stock market surge right after this whole thing was announced. But what was really striking to me, Matt, and I can't wait to get your thoughts here. What was really striking to me was, you have Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who maybe people are asking like, hey, if it's this easy, why couldn't this happen sooner? Why didn't, say, the Biden regime decide that they wanted to help America and they wanted to engage in a reset with China? And this is crazy. He said that the Chinese told him that Joe Biden was too weak to come to the table too. Watch.
What has to happen is it has to be fair for the American people. But in January 2020, President Trump produced a template. We had an excellent trade agreement with China, and the Biden administration chose not to enforce it. The Chinese delegation basically told us that once President Biden came into office, they just ignored their obligations. So, we all already have a large framework. The other thing to remember here, Jonathan, is that this is a pause down to 10%. The April 2nd level for China is 34%. So we will be working to see where their final reciprocal number ends up. And the negotiations are a combination of tariffs, non-tariff trade barriers, currency manipulation, and subsidies of labor and capital.
It really is striking. I've said this before. I don't think that it can be overstated that I never in my adult life, in my life that I could remember, I always heard, you always learn in school how important America and America's stability and America's strength. You always hear about how important that is to the entire globe. And it's like you inherently know it to be true because you're taught it. But you haven't seen it actually play out before your very eyes, the way that we saw it play out between the contrast between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And now you have, as Scott Bessent is saying, he's like, yeah, we talked to China and China just said that they thought that Joe Biden was too weak to even come to the table and try to negotiate with. And it really, really is striking when you see just how detrimental a weak president can be, even if just for 4 freaking years, how detrimental a weak president can be for the entire freaking globe, Matt.
It's quite staggering, isn't it? Because you literally have a walking vegetable. And I mean that he was not compos mentis for the majority of his presidency, if any of it at all. And then what you have is an absolute alpha male coming in and saying, hang on a second, somebody who's not a politician, who wasn't a politician anyway, understands deals and comes in and he's like, okay, this is the way it is. And let me tell you something, Sarah, you know this because you're a business owner. Business owners to business owners, they can respect each other in a tough negotiation. If you are not strong, you are going to get trampled over. But there is that element of like, okay, I really respect you. Yeah, I really respect you. And look, this is something that is even more prevalent in Asia and actually in the Middle East, that if you are not respected, forget it. Just forget it. You have to be respected. They have very masculine cultures that we have kind of tried to erode in our country. And now Trump is back. People are responding to that. And it's utterly fantastic for the country and, as you said, for the world. Now, I do want to make one other point. I grew up outside of this country looking in. I have seen the systematic dismantle of the United States over the period of time that I was old enough to understand it. So we have to go all the way back to Ronald Reagan, to a period of time when you had a strong leader. George Bush was not a strong leader. He wasn't. And I think now what we're doing is we're seeing this in context, especially with the way you look at what's going on in Texas, what a complete shit show it is here, that now we've finally got a leader. And he is a leader to be mimicked. You are seeing, even if you want to look at what's going on with Keir Starmer, that guy has completely changed his tune over in the UK. It's staggering. It's like he had some kind of a blood transfusion when his team came over to the US. He's saying all the same things as Trump. It's bizarre. But guys, this is a net win for the world. And America needs to be the leaders, and it's amazing to see, certainly for me, to see it returning back to the country that I fell in love with. It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is, watching just how things can be this, I don't want to say easy. I don't want to make it sound like any of this is easy, but he sure does make it look easy a lot of the time. And it turns out you just need someone with some balls and some backbone to go in there and say, I say what I mean what I say. And if I tell you that we are going to correct this trade imbalance, believe me, when I tell you we are going to correct this trade imbalance, we can do it the easy way or we can do it the hard way. And they believe him, right? It's like when President Trump says that to you, when President Trump says, no, we're going to tariff the hell out of you, I'm taking him seriously if I'm any other country, and I've watched how he's operated with other countries and his history. I'm like, sir, yes, sir. You just tell me how we can work together on this. So it's been fascinating to watch. What also has been fascinating to watch are all of the Democrats who, of course, they are so anti-American, but like I don't know, good deals for everyone, for the world, I guess, at this point, because if it means Orange Man bad, then that's what it means. And so you've got people like Elizabeth Warren that I want to play one of her greatest hits back in April when she was, warning everyone that this is one of the dumbest trade wars in U.S. history. Good old Liz. Pocahontas. Let's watch her.
Comes in and basically starts the dumbest trade war in the history of this country. This is going to be about potentially millions of people losing their jobs. It's going to be about millions of people losing their savings, many of people losing their retirement security, and at the same time taking on even higher costs for everything they buy. So that's going to push us in potentially to foreclosures or people being pushed out of their apartments. You know, I remember this from 2008 and how long it took us to dig our way out. And to this day, there are families, there are communities that still haven't recovered. Recessions can be all those fancy charts and graphs, but at the end of the day, people feel them one person at a time, and they can be devastating.
Oh, Senator Karen and poor man's Peppermint Patty are really concerned with the average American, right, Matt? They are really, really concerned with the fact that Americans might not be able to make ends meet. And, well, what about higher costs? And what about, that is so hilarious coming from the same people who carried water for Joe Biden and Joe Biden's disastrous policies, getting us into all of the record amounts of inflation, the grocery costs, the gas costs. I mean, some may say it was done completely intentionally. And these lovely women want to sit there and act as if they want to feign any sort of empathy for the average American who had to incur higher costs. Like, spare me, Senator Karen.
Yeah, they're not looking after that. As you said, they don't care about the world or even about America. They just care about the gravy train stopping. And we've seen this with their absolute pearl clutching over Elon Musk and Doge. I mean, that was the first step to exposing them. I'll tell you this, Sarah, this message, if you're looking at that right now, this message is not working. It's not going to work in the next election. You don't even have moderate Democrats going, you know what, this might work. I don't think I've heard anyone say this might work. And by the way, that the same goes for Republicans. I seem to remember two people saying that this was a negotiation and tariffs were all about leverage. We said it on the show multiple times. I'm not saying that we are, I'm not saying that we are, you know, because people say, well, you're an actor and you're a host. It's common sense. We knew it. We knew that this was going to happen. And may I say this as well? This is a huge deal. Do you remember when Donald Trump first said, I'm tariffing them? And they said, we will never back down. China will never back down. They just back down, guys. Like, they just totally back down. And the gracious thing to do in politics is to just move on, right? To just move on, to not face plant them on it. But I got to tell you, I want them to carry on. Pocahontas, carry on. Chuck Schumer, carry on. I mean, the ratio on X today with Chuck Schumer was unbelievable. He somehow looked at what Trump said and said that it was negative. It's over for the Democratic Party if they continue this way. It's that they are done. There are no moderates. It's orange man bad. Everything. And the one senator who we were looking at him go, this guy is a disaster. And then turns out that he comes out with some actual kind of sensible stuff. He's John Fetterman. And he is now the moderate in the Democratic Party. This is insane. They are going to lose every election in the foreseeable future if they continue down this route. And I encourage them to. You guys carry on.
No. Oh, no. That makes
Are you gonna
me
cry?
so
Are you gonna cry?
happy, actually. No, I'm good. I'm good. I felt it
you're
felt
right.
like I was coming on, but no, actually, they were tears of happiness. Just thinking about that. Okay. So to your point, I want to. We got to go to break, and then when we come back, I do want to talk about another thing that President Trump announced. He was like, this is the biggest announcement of my lifetime. I want to talk about that because that is another place where Democrats used to pretend like they cared about the average consumer, the average American. They cared about crony capitalism. And now let's watch Donald Trump actually address that and watch the Democrats just like pull their hair out. Maddening that President Trump is trying to tackle big issues that matter to the average American. First, we want to thank our sponsor of this segment, Birch Gold. So Birch Gold, listen, we were just talking about the tariffs, we're talking about the stock market, we're talking about all things economy related. And what you should be doing in times of great economy and times of not so great economy, looking at you, Joe Biden, is that you should be diversifying a little bit of your portfolio into precious metals, because precious metals, historically, it's a great hedge against any sort of instability. It's a great hedge against inflation. It's just always strong. So it's always a good thing to have in your portfolio. If you've got an IRA or 401k just lying around collecting dust, maybe it's from a former employer and you don't know what to do with it, Birch Gold can actually help you convert that into an IRA or 401k in precious metals, and it's not going to cost you a penny out of pocket. Let them send you information. There's no obligation. It's literally just free information. There's no reason not to read more about it. You can text my name, Sarah, to the number 989898. They're going to send you that free information kit. They're the financial gurus, not me. So go talk to them. If you read about it and you're interested, they've got really, really great experts who can help you figure out how to transition this. Very easy. You can text the word Sarah. That's my name, Sarah, SARA, to 989898. So another way that President Trump is, of course, trying to help ease the burden of the everyday American is he teased this before he actually laid it out. He teased it on Truth Social. He was like, this is the biggest announcement I am ever going to make. It's the biggest announcement that has ever been made. Stay tuned. And it ended up being an executive order on prescription drugs. Here is President Trump signing this executive order, and I'll get into the details.
It's a gift to the Department of Defense, and you should know better because you've been embarrassed enough, and so has your network. Your network is a disaster. ABC is a disaster. Here is the bill. Bobby, come on over here. Now you're talking about treatment and treatment. Thank you very much, everybody.
Mr. President, a quick question about Turkey.
Thank you very much.
So he said drug prices to be cut by 59% plus, gasoline, energy, groceries, and all other costs down. No inflation. Love DJT. Now, the details of this EO specifically, it says it aims to lower prescription drug prices by aligning U.S. prices with those paid by other high-income countries, which is reviving this was from his first term. He had a most favored nation pricing model. And so it's directing the U.S. Trade Representative and Secretary of Commerce to set price targets within 30 days for drug makers so that United States prices for these drugs match the lowest among peer nations. Because here's what's happening right now. What's happening right now is if you go to, the UK, you go to even Mexico, you hear about people. In fact, I believe our friend Alex Stein was just visiting a dentist in Mexico to get dental work done, because if you go to these other countries, they charge far less. Now, you could argue that the cost of your service when you're a doctor, I mean, you should be able to set that and negotiate it. But what President Trump is saying is that it's not fair for this drug. It's the same drug that you're selling in Europe. It's the same drug that you're selling in Asia. It's the same drug that you're selling in the United States, but you're charging us out the ass for it. And over there, you're giving them a much bigger break. And so this is going to apply broadly to Medicare, Medicaid, and potentially private insurance. And he said if drug makers don't make significant progress towards these targets within 6 months, then RFK Jr., as Secretary of Health and Human Services, will propose rules to enforce these the MFN pricing and consider measures like drug importation or export restrictions. So listen, I understand people's hesitation when they say, I don't like the government getting involved in medicine. However, when it has gotten so out of control the way that it has, and Americans are upcharged for things, sometimes life-saving medications that they are upcharged more for, and other countries are paying for the same thing, but they're getting a better deal. I understand why this is just another thing that he wants to course correct for Americans. Why do we have to take on the brunt like that when it's the same medication that we're receiving? And I want to play NIH Director Jay Bhattacharya, who was talking more about the economic impacts of drug prices. Watch.
So I teach economics at Stanford as well as health policy. And one thing that's really, really simple in economics is that when you have a persistent price difference for the same product between two countries, there's something deeply wrong. And what President Trump has done is a historic measure that should have been done a long time ago. What we're going to do is make sure that those prices become much closer to equal, like a competitive market you'd expect. Right now, what's happening is the American people are subsidizing in large fraction the research and development efforts for drug companies around the world by the higher prices that we pay. With this new order, Europe will share the burden of that. And in fact, if you may think of it as like as somehow it's like it's going after drug companies, actually it's helping drug companies. Because what we're also going to do with this order, what President Trump has done with this order, is he's said to European governments, look, if you are taking advantage of the drug companies by forcing them to charge very, very low prices, we're going to defend American drug companies in Europe. At the same time, we're standing up for the American consumer who's been paying far too high prices for far too long. I can go back decades to point to congressional reports after government report after government report of tremendously high drug prices, much higher than the rest of the world, and nothing has been done about it until this moment.
So, I mean, this should be, historically, Matt, this would be something that Democrats should be excited about. You have a president who is taking on this crony capitalism, this unfair system, this, big pharma medical industrial complex, which is totally taking advantage of American consumers, some of whom could be, you heard prior Democrats in years past say things like they're going to be dying in the streets if they don't get their medication. Oh my God, that's what we were told when we resisted Obamacare. And so now, of course, you will see the Democrats just in a complete tizzy because President Trump is trying to have the back of the American consumer in every single way imaginable. And it's literally freaking breaking them, Matt.
Again, they get exposed, don't they? When they have a cause that they can champion, that they don't believe that they're really going to get through, they keep championing and championing. And then when it comes down to, again, two things. One thing is actually pushing it through because who gets the most money from drug companies, Sarah? You know who gets the most money from drug companies. Look at Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. Go and have a look at how much money they get from them, right? That's the first thing. And secondly, they cannot have Orange Man have a win. And again, this is a losing strategy. It's a losing strategy because Americans are like, you're having to go at Trump for doing this? By the way, I do want to segue with this. I have experienced this. I can talk from experience being in Europe, in the UK, and coming over and seeing the difference in the prices. It is ridiculous. It has always been something that's driven me bonkers. I'm not a big fan of Big Pharma, right? I'm not a fan of Big Pharma at all. And I think there's this, but we're both capitalists, right? And neither of us are fans of Big Pharma. We respect the work that they do. But you are not telling me. So you come over to America, for example. I'll give you an example. You can get in the UK for a while, there was a cap on how much you could spend on a prescription. And I think back then it was like just under £10. That was the cap. You couldn't pay more than £10 for any single item. It's gone up a little bit now, as things do over time. But if I wanted to go and get an inhaler, like a Ventolin inhaler, that would cost me maybe 10 bucks. In Malta, it cost me about 15 euros, something like that. See how much it is over here. If you want to get a nebulizer for a kid, I know because I've had to buy one like 3 times. It's $100. This is insane. And again, this goes back to, I hate to say it, you have illegal immigrants coming in, they get everything for free, and then that is another aspect of this that is loaded onto the American consumer, and it's the middle class that gets hit by this. It's not the super poor because they get everything for free, and it's not the super rich because they can afford it. It's the regular American people that get absolutely shafted. And look, I fought tooth and nail telling people Obamacare was a bad thing. Please don't. I had people lecturing me on how great the NHS was. I was like, You've never been there. Like, I've been through it and I've
Yep.
experienced both sides. I can tell you, I actually think it's a false narrative what they're saying about, oh, well, you know, we need to, and I'm not just saying about Trump, like, you know, we need to fund American research. They could literally cut their profits by $1 billion and still be able to fund that research. So I do think in this instance, you have people profiteering out of people's misery. It's immoral. It should not be that way. And as you said, you cannot justify somebody who is now worried about getting cancer medication. And by the way, I won't even get onto the fact that the insurance companies are absurd, right? And it's the whole system is broken. But you shouldn't, if you have someone that has to go through the stress of having cancer and having to have that dealt with, they don't need the stress of their kids not being able to inherit the house that they put, because they had to mortgage it to pay for the cancer medication, when over in Europe, it's 90% cheaper. This is absurd.
Right.
I'm so glad that he's dealing with it. And I do want to put this out to Republicans. Don't get on that like vibe, well, hey, listen, you know, we're Republicans and we're into capitalism. This is where we have to say, hang on a second, right? This isn't just capitalism. It's not. It's not. When you're charging $1,000 for a treatment over here, and by the way, it's not like you're looking over at Europe. It's just over the border to our south and to the north, actually, that it's super cheap. So this is, it's a way of depressing, and I mean, like, you know, oppressing the American people. And by the way, I'm going to put this over to Elon Musk. Sorry about going on about this. People go on about we're having a population implosion, right? We're not having enough kids. Do you understand how much it costs? Because I can tell you, when you have a bunch of little kids and they get sick, how much money you bleed just taking care of them. So all these things are combined, and it's so great to see Trump dealing with every aspect of it, because it has to have a holistic approach, right, Sarah?
Yes. Yeah. No, 100%. And I do want to be clear here to all of the viewers. I am not. What I am not saying is, I am not saying that government should subsidize any of this. I'm not saying that government should get involved. And I know what you're talking about, Matt, with like, well, there's no reason that if someone has cancer that they should go totally bankrupt and their kids should be left with nothing because they had cancer. I like what you're saying, and what I'm saying is there's no reason why that should happen solely to Americans while other countries get far cheaper drugs and they get taken care of, and we get the raw end of the deal every single freaking time. And what President Trump has been so good on is recognizing Americans are getting shafted, whether it's our agreement with NATO, where we are paying way more than we are like benefiting from, and we are subsidizing all of these other nations, whether it is the imbalance in trade with China and all of these other countries, who, by the way, remember, have put tariffs on us for a very long time. The moment President Trump says, okay, fine, we'll just do reciprocal tariffs, they're like, that's mean. Why are you starting a trade war? I mean, he has seen how Americans have been played by the system. And it's not just, like you said, Matt, this isn't just, oh, I enjoy a healthy dose of capitalism. This is capitalism being manipulated by these big pharma companies who are just trying to exploit and profit off of what they deem to be rich America. It's just not okay. And now finally we have a president who's standing up for us. Go ahead real quick.
Yeah, no, I want to make it clear. I'm not advocating for socialized medicine in the slightest. What I am saying is,
I know you're not. I know you're not.
I know over in the UK and in Europe how much things cost. And it is so inflated in the US that people are literally panicking that stress is added on top of them going in, because they're like, I don't know if I can pay for this. I mean, even if you go in, I'll give you an example. Even if you go and you say, I want this kind of, let's say, ointment, and they'll say, well, that's $100. And you're like, what? If you're not clued up and you don't go, can I get a generic of that? And they'll go, okay, that's $5.
Right. Yep.
What? But it's not right. Which
honest to me, it's fine, because that is capitalism in my opinion. It's like, okay, well, if you want to be the name brand and have less people, have less people choose your brand and have more people choose the generic, or at least they have the option if they want to pay for the generic or they want to pay for, you know, the name brand. But it's not different in every other country, and they've decided to jack up the price just for Americans. And so we have to, of course, suffer with all of those high prices that nobody else has to pay. That's what chaps my ass. I want to play, because this pisses me off, I want to get us back into a little bit of a good mood here. Before we go, let's play President Trump talking about this today. He had a story about his friend, who I really want to know who this friend is. His friend, his experience getting the Ozempic, I assume is what this was. The fat shot was what President Trump said. Watch.
I mean, I'll tell you a story. A friend of mine who's a businessman, very, very, very top guy. Most of you would have heard of him. A highly neurotic, brilliant businessman, seriously overweight, and he takes the fat shot drug. And he called me up.
The fat shot
and
drug.
He said, President, he calls me, he used to call me Donald, now he calls me President, so that's nice respect. But he's a rough guy, smart guy, very successful, very rich. I wouldn't even know how he would know this, but because he's got comments. So, President, could I ask you a question? What? I'm in London, and I just paid for this damn fat drug I take. I said, it's not working. He said, I just paid $88. And in New York, I pay $1,300. What the hell is going on?
Fat shot.
It's not
drug.
working.
I love that man so much.
But people take him so seriously.
I wanna
And he's
know.
like that. But
I
that's
know.
the way, Sarah, you know, we, off camera, you and I tease each other all the time. Like, you give me hassle all the time. We like, that's the way is affection. And it still puzzles me that people don't get it. Like, he's talking to this guy. He just said he's great. Then he says he's neurotic. Then he said he's fat. He said he's taking Ozempic or whatever it is. And then it's not working. It's just great. He's so fantastic. It's unbelievable.
I know. I love that guy so much. All right, let's go ahead and we got to take another quick break. We'll be back with more, but we want to thank our sponsor this segment, Brickhouse Nutrition, with their product Lean. This is a great product to talk about right now because we just talked about that fat shot drug. You don't want to take the fat shot drug. I mean, take it at your own will. At your own risk, because every day I see a new story come out about how terrible that thing is for people. They're prescribing it like candy. Go look, it's not good. It's like you get flat butt and all sorts of... Anyway, I digress. Let me tell you what you do want instead, which is a weight loss supplement called Lean. And this is from, like I said, Brickhouse Nutrition. And it was created by a doctor and university researcher to target the goals of those GLP-1s, so the Ozempics of the world, but without having to inject yourself. So this is all natural. It's the studied ingredients have been shown to lower blood sugar, radically reduce appetite, and burn fat by converting it into energy. So if you are struggling to lose weight, don't go get the fat shot drugs. Let's get you started with Lean, 20% off. You can use code Sarah20 at takelean.com. That is takelean.com, promo code Sarah20. Oh, this one's a fun one. We had, over the weekend, we had 3 Democrat U.S. representatives from New Jersey, LaMonica McIver, Bonnie Watson Coleman, and Rob Menendez. I don't know if there's, I would assume no relation to the Menendez brothers, but who knows? They were involved in this confrontation at an ICE detention facility in Newark on Friday. Yeah, here's some of this. I mean, it got really, really heated. And they just started, they're like, we're going to storm the gates. And they started just literally just doing that. Uh-oh. Oh boy, that's one of them in the red there. And getting up in their face. Great representation you guys have there in New Jersey, guys. This is nuts. Get your hands off of her. Why are these people like this? It's like, you guys are spoiled toddlers. You will pay. You can't talk to a congressperson like that. don't put your hands on me. It's like, well, ma'am, you were kind of putting your hands all over me and trying to storm the gate first. So I don't care who you are. You're not allowed to do that. And the crazy thing about this is the amount of gaslighting that took place afterwards, where they're like, nothing, I don't know what you're talking about. Nothing happened. Here is Bonnie Coleman on CNN trying to gaslight the entire country. Watch.
But there's no reason for it. Nothing happened other than the chaos that they created themselves. If anything, we were pushed and shoved and found in a very vulnerable situation for the three of us.
I mean, it's really incredible, Matt, to watch them just deny what is caught on camera. You saw there the body cam footage of this woman. I mean, she's not only MacIver elbowing, she literally is throwing up her elbow to make her way through. Look at her. She's pushing to make her way through. There she goes. That is an offensive push. She's leaning into it right there. But you also have her assaulting him with her gut, which might bother me more than the elbow, because I do find it very offensive when people use their fat to bully me. And I've had that happen before in protests. And I'm like, your gut is all over me. That's actually really gross. And I'm going to need you to stop. And so you have her even saying, I touch whoever I want, mother effer. This is who we are putting. There it is. I touch whoever I want, mother effer. This is who we're putting in Congress now. Hello, what is wrong with you, New Jersey? Now, the question is, are we going to do anything about it? You had the Newark mayor who was arrested and charged with trespassing. But are they going to arrest all of these Congress people? Because remember, Matt, no one is above the law. That's what we were told by the Democrats. Anytime allegedly, any of the 91 indictments that they hurled at President Trump for dumb ticky-tacky, let's find some sort of a crime to try to stick to him. And you've got ICE agents now being assaulted, and they claim that they're considering more arrests of lawmakers as part of an ongoing investigation. And I'm like, no, don't consider it. Just freaking do it. We've got you guys on camera, caught red-handed. Do you think for 1 second, if they had Donald Trump caught on camera assaulting people, that they wouldn't, of course, say, roll the tapes, we've got Donald Trump caught red-handed? They didn't even have that, and they threw him through everything. So it's like, no, arrest them. They're the criminals. We've got it on camera, and we need to put them on notice that they need to stop acting like this and have some accountability. Otherwise, it will never end.
Yeah, they need to be arrested and they need to be charged for assault. I mean, it is equal justice under the law, isn't it? That's what it's meant to be. But look, I want the viewers and yourself, Sarah, to do like, that thing in Wayne's World where they go doodle-doodle-doodle-doodle, and just cast your mind back to a pre-Elon Musk X. What would have happened with that instance is you would have had a edited piece of footage go out that would miss the first part of it, or miss the part of where, I say miss, you know what I'm saying? Like, miss that part and just selectively,
it's just a total oopsies.
And then you'd have the narrative that the cops, because I have to kind of like figure out where we are in the cycle of cop, hate, and love, right? So, we love cops. The January the 6th, the cops, we love the cops, and look at what the insurrectionists did. And now we're kind of in the like, I hate cops because they're doing their job. So it's a cycle that the Democrats go in. And basically, it's when it aligns with whatever they want, right? So they're completely inconsistent. But these people need to be punished. They need to understand that this is not acceptable. And by the way, if I saw a Republican doing that, I would say the same thing. You cannot do that. That is not acceptable. You need to be charged. You need to go to jail.
Yeah, and there's just something so wholly disgusting about these people. They get elected, they get put into office, and then you heard her say it. She's saying it. They used to just think it. They're saying the quiet parts out loud now. She's like, I'm a congressperson. You can't touch me like that. You can't talk to me like that. You will pay. That's what she's telling federal
Well, they've been
agents.
saying it.
I mean, the audacity.
they've been saying it for a long time, Sarah. We just haven't caught it. It hasn't been caught on camera.
Yeah.
It hasn't been put out there. If you'd have had this years ago, and we've seen this, we've seen things be sunk, right? Because the mainstream media is not going to put it on a platform that makes it accessible. So they're going to sink these things. You can't now with citizen journalism. You can't. It's going to get out there. So they've been saying it for years. It's no different. It's now they're just being caught. But, you know, they're always slobs. Why are they such slobs and such low IQ people? They're low IQ. They're slobs. You know, it's like, I feel like she's like, oh, like, you know, get in my belly. Get out the way. I'm coming through. Do you know who I am? I'm a congresswoman. Hey, get my billet through there. Like that. I mean, they're just so disgusting. What happened to the the John Adams? What happened to the Hamiltons? You could even go back like 50 years and you had at least some respect that they are so low rent, these people. And New Jersey should be absolutely ashamed of listen, by the way, not just New Jersey, we've got our very own one, haven't we? Just down the street.
Thank you.
She's exactly the same.
Yes.
So you people need to wake up. And I'm fed up saying it on this show, is that people need to get engaged because you are electing these people into power. It's not good. They're not. They're slobs. They're ignorant. They are ideologues for the most part, and this has to end.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's also like they're just low class. I mean, you said it, low rent. It's just such classless behavior to talk to a federal ICE agent like that, to talk to Department of Homeland Security, whoever it is. Actually, let me back up. To talk to any other adult human, the way that she was talking to them and carrying on just because she's a congressperson is just so freaking disgusting. Like, that is so disgusting to me. And you're right. We do have them here in Texas with good old Jasmine Crockett. But, you know, this is how they feel. I, for one, am at least glad that they are letting it known that this is how they feel. They do think that they are elite. They do think that they're above the law. As much as they wanted to claim during the time where they were waging war against Donald Trump in the courts, in the judicial system, and they wanted to claim no one is above the law, it turns out they thought they were the whole time. It'd be great for them to find out real quick that what they were saying before was actually correct. No one is above the law, including you, criminal. All right, Sarah, we've got to...
Sarah,
take another. Yeah, go ahead real quick.
Can I just say something very quickly as well, because it's important. I think they're waiting for one of those cops to turn around and push them back. I think that's what they're waiting for.
Probably so.
I think they're trying to provoke it because they want I fell. And then they get more hype. They get to go after the cops again. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it's so plain to see. If someone's shoving you in the back and you're a cop and you're moving forward, you don't know who it is behind you shoving you, right? So even if a cop turns, and we've seen cops restrain people with approved restraint methods, and they've gone to jail.
Right.
So I'm just saying, right, that they all want their little moment because it's a fundraiser for them. That's where we are.
Yes, 1000%. They just want to make themselves into more of the victim, which you heard there with her, elbowing them and like, what, don't talk to me like that. Like, bitch, you started it. Okay, please spare me. All right, let's go ahead and thank Preborn, and then we'll be back first. Let's thank Preborn, who, you guys, if you have not heard yet, we are doing a deal this whole Mother's Day month. I hope you guys, all you mothers out there, had a fabulous Mother's Day weekend. I know I did, but we are partnering with Preborn this whole month of May to try to get to 600 sponsored ultrasounds, because what Preborn is doing is so incredible. They are offering moms, scared moms who are thinking about ending their babies' lives in the womb. They are offering them the truth on ultrasound. This is your baby. They're letting them listen to their baby's heartbeat. And once they hear that heartbeat, once they see their baby on ultrasound, they are twice as likely to choose life for their babies. So preborn is literally saving babies' lives. It costs money for an ultrasound. $28 is the cost of an ultrasound. So how many ultrasounds can we help them sponsor, which we know every ultrasound actually goes to saving babies' lives? It's really that simple. Please help us get to 600. You can go to preborn.com/Sarah. I need to check up on where we're at on this counter, but make sure you go donate securely over at preborn.com/Sarah. Before we go, I do want to remind you guys one more sponsor here. CBD from CB Distillery. This weekend, like I said, was Mother's Day weekend, and I have their CBD product for sleep, and it is, Steven could say, it is like incredible. It really works, and I really have been struggling with sleep. A lot of stress, but mostly sleep. And CB Distillery has been really, really amazing in helping me. So if you've got sleep, stress, other health concerns, and you haven't found relief, I know it helps with pain as well. Go to cbdistillery.com and you can use promo code Sarah. Save 25% with that promo code. It is cbdistillery.com. Use promo code Sarah. I love these products. I really, really do. They work. So go check them out if you are looking for a more natural way to help with all of these ailments, including sleep. Because it turns out, Matt, when people have children, you know, because you've got a million of them, sleep is sometimes hard to come by. So I just, you know.
Well, I'm 25 years old, and look at me. Look at what this has done, like not having sleep. Yeah, that tends to happen.
Yeah, because, well, you know, you chose to have a million kids. You could have chosen not to have a million kids. You and your wife apparently don't know what's causing that.
I can't keep her off me. What can I say?
So I want to also tell the view. Yeah, just let him think it is. It's fine. So I want to tell everyone before I forget, I am going to be gone Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I know. I'm going to miss you guys too. And I know you guys get really bent out of shape whenever I take any sort of time off, but I have like 10 million jobs, and I have some stuff that I have to get done, in Austin, over at the Capitol, and just some ducks I need to put in rows. So I will be going out and working, just not here. So I know I will miss you guys. I hope you will miss me. But I did hear, Matt, I'm still trying to get clarification. I heard that the Blaze viewers who were watching this morning, they were trying to watch Pat's show and then trying to watch Glenn's show, and it was just stuck on Sara Gonzales Unfiltered that just kept replaying over and over.
Yes,
so maybe they got an extra dose of me there.
Yes, the way it should be, of course.
They kept sending tweets. They were like, what's going on? Because it's just stuck on Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. And I was like, man, that is unfortunate for you guys. You just have to keep listening to my loud mouth.
That's what I'm saying. It's about time. You deserve it, Sarah.
So... Yeah. Well, it was just that it was why everyone called customer service saying, "Hey, get this loud woman off of my screen. I didn't pay for this." I want to speak to the manager. I don't want to watch her
speak to the manager.
Yeah. Make sure you're following Matt. Subscribe to his YouTube channel, Matthew D. Marsden. He's got great content, and we want to, support conservatives alike. So subscribe to his channel, and we will see you here tomorrow.